I had a chance to do some riding on the new KTM 790 Adventure R off-road out in California, and I thought I'd put together a little clip here of what my thoughts were on the bike. And, this is kind of outside of the KTM Ultimate Race and the Tortuga Rally. Just as an adventure bike, it's an incredibly capable bike. I'll just start off by saying that and getting that out of the way now. I mean, the bike that I'm riding is a stock bike. It hasn't been modified. It's all stock suspension. It's got TKC 80s on it. It's got the wide 2.5 inch front rim, the 4.5 inch wide rear rim on it. There's nothing done to make this thing better than stock here. It doesn't even have the Akrapovic exhaust that so many of the bikes are coming with from the dealer. This is just the stock, really quiet exhaust. The bike is incredibly capable, even in this form. I had kind of just gotten on the bike and was just getting comfortable with it here early on in this video, and I think that speaks volumes about it, because the bike immediately felt pretty comfortable. I didn't have to get used to any weird quirks. It turns really nicely. KTM, their most recent bikes, and their dirt bikes are this way too. All the kind of 2016-ish and newer bikes, they really figured the frame geometry out. They turn very well, and the 790 is no exception. In the video, I've got a bunch of the electronic stuff still turned on. I don't think I ever turned the traction control off all the way. It's kind of a pain to turn it off and on, since you have to stop and toggle through some menus. But it does have the adjustable intervention levels, and that was everything I needed. I just turned it down to a lower level when I needed more wheel spin, and most of the time on 4 or 5, kind of in the middle of its 9 settings, it really didn't intervene much at all. It let me go. The ABS I had in rally mode, which it does retain that in its memory when you key off, which means ABS only on the front wheel. And this kind of bothered me at first. I've never really ridden a bike with ABS before, especially not off-road. And so it was really disconcerting, but once you get used to it, it's kind of nice. You don't ever wash the front end out on the brakes. As you can see in the video, I'm going across these whoops and bumps and everything. The bike's taking it all in stride. I did bottom the suspension out a couple times, used all 240 millimeters of its travel. However, riding, this is an adventure bike. Riding this kind of terrain, trying to go fast, it's going to happen. And there's not another bike on the market that could handle this kind of pace and not be just banging off the stops all the time. I hit some rocks and stuff pretty hard, and just not thinking about it, again, the bike kind of encourages you to go faster. No bends in the rims or anything like that. These aren't the 950 rims of old that bent if you looked at them funny. They're pretty capable.
Control that kind of does for you. I don't know if you can change.
I had a Senna on my helmet. I was talking to my dad on a DRZ 400 who was behind me at this point, just about the traction control and different things. It does have a cable clutch. Most of the time when you're riding this pace, the clutch is more off and on, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. But when you're feathering the clutch between the low inertia of the engine and the really narrow engagement zone, I didn't care for the clutch feel quite as much. However, there's no denying that the clutch works great. It bites hard. It doesn't get hot. I never had to touch free play, even at the Ultimate Race and Tortuga Rally. I just never had to touch the adjustment. It was fine. And clutch pull is extremely light. So I think in the design box that KTM was in, with putting this thing together using an existing engine architecture. I think they did a very good job with it. The bike is a little bit, I guess, overly quiet for my taste with the stock exhaust, and I don't say that because I feel like everyone needs to have the loudest exhaust on their bike. I don't like hearing every little creak and rattle and bang of the engine and exhaust, and it gives the bike kind of a mechanical sound to it versus the sound of the exhaust, which can be a little bit distracting. I got used to it, but at the same time, a little bit more volume, especially at higher
ABS,
speed,
yeah.
so you can
ABS,
hear what the
actually, I
engine's
kinda
doing.
like
You don't
it
have to
now that
look
I'm
down at the
used to it.
tack or, get caught out in the wrong gear. I'm sure you get used to it. The Acura exhaust is, it's about right, but the stock exhaust is very, very quiet.
It just saves you from washing out.
Power-wise, the bike doesn't deliver power like a 950. The 950 has a whole bunch of grunt off the bottom. It's very, very torquey. It's got an extra 200cc displacement. Of course, it's going to feel that way. However, I think the 790 actually makes more power in the wheel. When you really get it revved out, it's an engine that loves to rev. It's happy being high in the rev range, and you can beat on it all you want, and it just keeps taking it and asking for more. It's not like it's low enough on torque that it's ever going to stop anyone from doing anything. Overall, super impressive bike. I mean, blasting down these trails, it loved it. You forget that you're on a bike, a 460-pound adventure bike. You really do. So that's kind of some of my quick thoughts on the 790R, and I know people are getting their bikes now and starting to show up in the U.S., so we'll see more videos, but I think a lot of people are going to be really, really happy with their bikes.